Hey friends, happy Science Friday. Today is Friday, April 10th, and today we're going to be talking about capacity. And so what I want you to do is make observations, make some hypotheses. Hypotheses is a fancy word for guesses based on what you know. And you are going to work on the concept of capacity. So you may say, well, Mrs. Norton, what is capacity? Well, in your packet, there is a whole lesson about what is capacity. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to read through this packet with your family or mom or dad. And so what it says, we measure capacity to find out how much something can hold. And we measure it in different ways. We can measure it with non-standard units of measure, like bears or beans, for example. The jar holds 7 bears, or the jar holds 10 rocks. We can also measure with standard units of measure, like a measuring cup. For example, the jar holds 4 cups of water. In kindergarten, we start off with non-standard units of measure. So we talk about, we get like a random item and say, I think that this cup will hold 20 letters. And then I'll get my letters, I'll put them in there, and I'll say, and I'll count them out, and I'll say, it held 22 letters. I was pretty close, or I wasn't close at all. It only held 10 letters. So you can try this at home, and I'll explain this a little more in a minute about non-standard units of measure. So when we talk about capacity, we talk about what can we use to measure capacity. You could use a bottle to measure capacity. You can use bowls to measure capacity, cups to measure capacity, cartons, measuring instruments, or other items to measure capacity. And so what you want to think of when measuring capacity is that in terms of empty or full. So, for example, this cup would be empty, the cup is half full, and the cup is all the way full. So how full is full? Nearly empty, nearly full, or less than half. So using that fraction half is really great. So it's almost full, it's nearly empty, or it's less than half, or a little more than half. Starting those words that we're going to see in first grade. So the next concept that we go on to is more or less. When talking about capacity, we also say that something holds more or less than something else. So for example, this bowl would hold more water than this cup would. Or this cup would hold less than the bowl would. I have to turn the page. So your job today is to start off, you're going to circle all of the empty containers in red, the half full containers in green, and the full containers in blue. So what would you say for this one? It looks empty to me too. So I would circle this one in red. If you don't have those colors, you can make up your own colors. No problem. So you're going to look through each of these and say, is it empty, half full, or all the way full? Maybe all the way full, half full. I'll let you do the rest. You can go through and you can practice some of these. Which holds more? Which holds less? Circle the one that you think holds the most. Circle the one you think holds the least. So then you're gonna think about some things. Draw and label something that holds less than the container shown below. So if this is a milk jug, maybe your cup of milk would show less, and you would say cup of milk. This is syrup. Maybe you would draw like a little, I don't know, what would you put there? I bet you can think of something. Draw something that holds more. What holds more than the measuring cup? What holds more than the box of sugar? And what holds more than the bubblegum machine? And you're going to keep doing this. There's lots of fun projects in there. But the most fun of all that Cecilia and I did at home was we played this in the bathtub. You could play in the sink or the bathtub or wherever you'd like. Is we tested it out. We put them in order. We said, okay, we think this will hold more than this. we weren't sure about these two, so we put them next to each other, and we thought this would hold the most. So then what we did is we filled them with water, and we tested. We said, okay, we undid this, and we said, well, I know that I can't, we tried to pour the water in there. It didn't work. There was like way too much water in here. And then we thought this held more than this one. So then we poured it in, and guess what? Sure enough, it overflowed. And these two were almost equal. These two right here were almost equal. It was pretty interesting. So you can grab some different size containers from your home and test it out. It doesn't have to be water. You could put all different things in there. You could see cereal in different size containers. Maybe you have different size bowls at home, and so you could try the cereal in different size bowls and see which one holds the most, which one holds the least. Try those out. So anyways, that's capacity for today. I hope you enjoyed that. And look for that mystery science link so that you could do a fun mystery science activity. Have a great Friday, and I'll see you on Monday, friends.